It's Wednesday, December 18th. My name's Juan Brown, and while the rest of the media across the nation is focused on impeachment hearings that are going to go nowhere once they get to the Senate, you're tuned to the Blanco Lirio channel with a quick update on some news you can use regarding the latest on the PG&E bankruptcy situation and Governor Gavin Newsom's attempt to potentially derail the entire operation. I'd no sooner got done posting my latest update on the PG&E bankruptcy situation. By the way, thank you Patreon supporters, as it's your support that allows me to go into more in-depth reporting on subjects like this. That previous update took me nearly a week of research to get all the information together for that update. YouTube works by volume. If you want to earn enough money from ad revenue from YouTube, you got to just constantly feed it constant volume, regardless of quality of videos, and then you get caught up in the same media circus that the mainstream media is caught up on, a 24-hour news cycle with no substance. So thank you Patreon supporters. I'd no sooner got done posting that update on the PG&E bankruptcy when Gavin Newsom posted a 5-page letter to the Pacific Gas and Electric Company that potentially derailed the entire bankruptcy process. That was on 13 December. That the bankruptcy judge had to decide by yesterday, 17 December, on what to do. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, and bankruptcy judge Dennis Montali did not allow Gavin Newsom to derail the bankruptcy proceedings and stuck with Plan A, the plan to get PG&E out of bankruptcy by 30 June 2020. Let's go into further detail on this and discuss a little bit about what was in the letter and what was Gavin Newsom really up to with this letter. Correction, that's San Francisco bankruptcy judge Dennis Montali, who's been around a very long time, and in fact presided over the previous PG&E bankruptcy rodeo back in 2003. Look for the links in the comment section below. So Plan A for the PG&E bankruptcy proceedings, as presided over by Judge Montali, stands as follows: $13.5 billion for the victims. Those are the folks that were underinsured or not insured, to make those people whole. $11 billion for insurers that are covering the costs of these wildfires. These insurers incurred losses of about $20 billion for a total of $24.5 billion. Remember too, there's that $1 billion for various cities and counties, municipalities, for their involvement in these fires. And what the judge also did is he struck out any other settlement agreements. There was a Plan B agreement called the bondholders settlement that the judge said, no, we're not going to consider that any. And he also stated that this bankruptcy agreement does not require the governor's approval. However, that doesn't mean Governor Newsom cannot derail the process later on down the line. Why? Because he holds the purse strings to the $21 billion wildfire insurance settlement for future wildfires if PG&E gets through this bankruptcy process on time. And that's the other whole problem with Gavin Newsom's letter to the PG&E, was that it was going to disrupt this entire timeline and delay the compensation that the victims deserve. But in a bit of backstepping here yesterday, Newsom's lawyer says he didn't intend to stand in the way of the victim settlement, but that's precisely what would have happened had Gavin gotten his way with this letter. So let's take a little closer look at what's inside Gavin's letter. In Governor Newsom's 13 December letter, he states that victims and employees must be treated fairly, and California must continue to make forward progress on our climate change goals. To facilitate the expeditious resolution of the Chapter 11 cases that achieves the state's objective, he's reviewed the plan, and he says that I have determined that the amended plan and the restructuring transactions contemplated therein do not comply with AB 1054. Remember, AB 1054, Assembly Bill 1054, is that $21 billion carrot that's out there for future wildfire losses if PG&E gets through bankruptcy on time by 30 June of next year. Because they know the infrastructure is so shot at PG&E, there will be future wildfires. And this is an insurance policy that's there to help settle future wildfire claims. In my judgment, the amended plan and restructuring transactions do not result in a reorganized company required to provide safe, reliable, and affordable service to its customers, as required by AB 1054. Newsom goes on to explain how he wants to see the board makeup of PG&E change. Changes that will result in a more qualified and independent board of directors that understands its obligation to achieve the goals of AB 1054. A transformed company should be governed by a board of directors selected based on a predetermined set of qualifications, including members with extensive safety experience, and be comprised by a majority of Californians. Governor Newsom doesn't like the current Wall Street board member makeup of PG&E, and he wants to put in his California cronies instead. To facilitate transformation, the board that will lead the reorganized company should be accepted to me and approved by the CPUC and identified in the amended plan. This is where the judge Montali struck down that Gavin Newsom is... Last time I checked, Governor Newsom was the governor of California. He's not a bankruptcy judge. He's part of what would be normally called the executive branch of government, not the judicial. And here's where it looks like Governor Newsom is laying out the outline for a possible state takeover of the entire PG&E operation. An escalating enforcement process that provides for greater oversight of the reorganized company if it fails to meet the defined operational and safety metrics. Because of this company's history, the license to operate should be conditioned on it agreeing to this process. This should also include a streamlined process for transferring the license and the operating assets to the state or a third party when circumstances warrant. So there's where Gavin wants to take over, a state takeover of the utility. Now let's talk about rates. Everybody's saying that rates are going to go skyrocketing through the roof. Well, they have gone up a little bit, but one of the fundamental problems with this entire issue is the CPUC, the California Public Utilities Commission, one of its jobs is to cap rates. It caps the rates at a certain percent or a certain level, and yet still makes all these demands for green and renewable energy expenditures. And what's the cost? The cost of what happens to the maintenance of the basic infrastructure. So outside of all of these bankruptcy proceedings and these billions of dollars that are flying around, there's a separate settlement agreement called the Multi-Party Settlement Agreement to CPUC related to the 2017-2018 wildfires. This is a $1.7 billion settlement outside of these other lawsuits. And this settlement prevents PG&E from hiking rates to pay for the $1.6 billion in wildfire costs to PG&E. In other words, customers like myself can't suffer the second indignity of having my rates hiked up just to pay for PG&E's mistake. And the other part of this agreement is $50 million that goes towards doing the job that PG&E should have been doing all along, maintenance of the lines and vegetation removal from around the lines. And that money is to come from the shareholders. Outside of all these different agreements, the bankruptcy agreement and this multi-party settlement agreement, there's still civil proceedings going on, but the bankruptcy judge is capping those civil proceedings at the limits of PG&E insurance. So I took a closer look at my own electricity bill here at the Blanco Lirio Global Headquarters. Over the last year, I'm averaging between 20 to 28 cents per kilowatt hour. Average for this three bath house is about $124 a month for electricity. Now, I don't have an air conditioner here. I don't need it in this climate. And we do a lot of our heating with gas, so the electricity part of my bill is about $124 a month average. My gas bill is also about $124 a month for a little less than $250 a month average for both gas and electricity. California statewide, right now, utility rate is about 20.72 cents per kilowatt hour. That puts it about the fourth highest electricity rates in the nation. But this also represents an 8% increase in electricity rates from last year. So again, part of the problem is how do you cap the rates and at the same time demand all these green energy solutions? As we get more information, we'll let you know. I got to do a couple more updates this week. I got the NTSB preliminary report on the PC-12 tragic crash in South Dakota. A lot of important information in that report I want to get to you right away, and I'm also woefully overdue for a long-awaited 737 MAX update. See you here. Julianne. I'd no sooner got done posting my extensively cut. What did he do? He did not agree to anything. Well, that's not true either. Did not allow Gavin Newsom to derail the bankruptcy proceedings and stuck with Plan A, the plan to get PG&E out of bankruptcy by 30 June 2020. Rodeo. Take 3.
Maybe this will help. Try some delicious Santa Barbara chocolate. From Santa Barbara Chocolate, Santa Barbara, California.